Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today as we evolve together. I'm super excited to be talking with Jim. Jim, please introduce yourself and your company. We want to hear all about what you're doing.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jim Gibbs. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Meter Feeder. Um, well, even before COVID, cities were losing billions of dollars trying to price the curb for shared vehicles. And we made a way for traditional and autonomous vehicles to pay for parking with no human interaction so cities can make money and I can stop getting parking tickets. Um, we have some cities are ready for that future city mindset where vehicles are paying for parking on their own. But to kind of bring it to the normal mere mortals like you and I, we also have apps where you can pay for parking, and we do also have digital enforcement, so the small to mid-sized municipalities can enforce and make sure that they step into the year 2000 and are able to keep up with modern technology.
Well, it certainly makes it easier for the consumer too, because nobody wants to have to go to the machine and figure out how to use it when they can just have your app and already have their vehicle, and makes it like simplifies it so much for the consumer. And quite frankly, I would say the most of us really care about the consumer, but for the municipal and city perspective, it's important too, because that's revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, it's like I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I built it for myself, right? I have a wife and 5 kids. If the chances of me having change in my pockets is literally zero. So whenever I would see a meter, I would be like, okay, so clearly I'm just going to get a parking ticket. So
Yeah. Well, and Jim, keep in mind that when they become teenagers, there's no change. I'm talking like 20s, 50s, hundreds. You won't even have those because the bills just keep getting bigger. So
well,
I
I was going to
totally
say,
get it. I love it.
yeah,
No. So,
five
it's
five boys, so they eat a lot too. So
they do.
yeah.
Yeah, you needed to build it for yourself. That's awesome. I love it. I love what you guys are doing, and I love to continue watching you grow and grow and grow. And how did the pandemic affect Meter Feeder in general? Like, what happened to you guys during that time?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny because the first person who invested in us, the first angel, his name was Paul Buchheit, and he sat my co-founder Dan and I down, and he was just like, "Just don't spend all your money," right? And that's
Okay.
essentially what we did. We just lived like cockroaches. So when COVID hit, next thing you know, we're sitting there, you know, 95% of our revenue just disappeared. But one of the things that we realized that like 95% of everybody's revenue disappeared. So suddenly we're looking at our competitors and they're just dropping like flies. And, we're able to just sit there picking up the pieces because, again, we just didn't spend all of our money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really difficult, like, I mean, it's always difficult. But yeah, that was the key thing. The key differentiator was that we just wanted to make sure that our unit economics actually worked. So then, in an instance where people aren't paying for parking anymore because everybody was staying home, we were able to glide for a little bit and actually survive when others couldn't.
That is amazing. And to me, you saw the opportunity, and the opportunity was spend as little as you can and wait for it. Wait it through, whatever it takes to make it through. And you guys you're there, right? I think we're over the finish line, or at least we're pretty, I would assume we're close, hoping nothing
We're
comes
close.
back. But,
We're close.
fingers are crossed we're on the other side of this. And did you have any major pivots? I mean, obviously, besides money reserves and, sitting and eating probably, what is those little ramen noodles?
Yeah, actually, the box is in the
Oh, of
cabinet
course
right
it
over
is.
there. That's off screen. But
Wait
nevertheless,
till
it's
your
like,
boys grow up and that's what they want to eat, because my daughter, I'm like, how are you growing with eating those things of noodles? But she somehow
yeah,
is.
yeah. My wife's a pastry chef, so I don't think I'm going to get away scot free.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's amazing. I love it. So any other pivots besides the
yeah,
obviously being very careful with the funds?
yeah. So it was funny because one of my investors he essentially said, "What do you think is going to happen?" Right. So we like essentially mapped out different paths. So one is, hey, everybody comes back and it's just as normal, right? So we have a list of products that we can just continue to deploy. But one of the things that we noticed was, although mere mortals like you and I were not parking on, on the street anymore,
Right.
people were still using the curb. The only difference was they have like $1 trillion market caps, right? So one of the things that we decided to do was start headed towards fleets.
Okay.
And yeah, like if everybody's home, clearly there needs to be delivery. And if there's delivery, they should be paying for parking. So, we learned a lot just by speaking to a bunch of people in the industry. And yeah, we deployed being able to pay for parking just by turning your vehicles off, like for the fleets, and
Wow.
also monitoring parking tickets in over 500 markets across the US.
That's fantastic. Now, I think I would have never even thought of fleet vehicles because, I mean, it's short term, right? But it's constant. They could be going up one road and parking 20 times. And is it really fair for them to take up that spot that I would pay for? I it never even dawned on me that that's it, or do they just wing it and typically just go for it and think they're not going to get a violation? Or
No,
is,
they know they're going to get the ticket.
oh, okay. Okay. I didn't even know.
But
I
that's
never even thought if you ticket a fleet vehicle. It never dawned on me. Um,
yeah. I mean, if you think about like FedEx, UPS, other delivery companies, like there was a time in just New York City alone, they were getting about $100 million in parking tickets, right? So next
wow.
thing you know,
Yeah.
if you just extrapolate that across the entire United States, yes, it's a big problem. So
Oh, yeah.
essentially, what we enabled ourselves to do was, not ignore, the consumer like app paying for parking, but yeah, just enable the fleet to like not think about it and
Yeah.
just handle it automatically, right? And that's sort of the mindset, you know. And it's like it's not quite a pivot; it's just
Right.
an additional product.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So what does back to work look like now?
Yeah. So back to work. We actually awkwardly moved offices during the pandemic, but yeah, now it's really just as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if people are on the moon, just as long as it has clear
Get it
internet
done.
connection and yeah, they can get in contact with me and let me know where they are with their current to do list. But yeah, that's really it. It's like we just want to make sure that there's consistent communication and everybody's working together, right?
Right.
We need to make sure that you know there's good feedback. Everybody has a clear understanding of what needs to be done. Everyone has a clear understanding of like what help they need,
Yeah.
and just continue to foster that culture of we're all in this together, and we may be apart, but we're all working together.
And were you together before the pandemic, like working in an
Yeah.
office side by side?
Yep,
So then that's
absolutely.
a big change, right? I mean, I assume you weren't working at home with your boys.
I mean, there was a
Trying.
point where I was
There
working
was.
with the boys, like one crawling up this side while the other one's crawling down the other side.
I was
But
wondering how you did anything.
but yeah, I mean that was the thing, right? It's like, for example, you know, if my co-founder and I, we've been working together for about 21 years now, right? Our relationship is officially old enough to drink. So for me to be able to for me to be like, no, you need to come to the office. It's like, look,
No.
I mean, if you need to stay home, just stay home.
Right.
Here's what needs to be done, and he just gets it done, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're not able to be responsible enough in order to like actually get your stuff done, then like unfortunately, Meter Feeder might not be the best place for you to work.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think we're hearing that across the board that, companies are trying to be flexible, they're trying to trust their people, but at the same time, that trust is really critical. And, when you break the trust, it's hard to get it back. And there is a trust level, right? That people know what they're doing, they have the resources, you're enabling them to be successful, but that they can handle it. It's kind of like
Yeah,
trusting your kids. It's
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, but here's the thing, right? It's like you can literally look at it, right? So if you're just like, "Hey, son, I need you to wash the dishes," if you go back in the kitchen and none of the dishes are washed and he's sitting there watching TV, then clearly he's not going to do it, So it's like, it's the same thing here. Like everybody knows what everybody else is doing, like you have two technical co-founders and, our CFO is in here making sure, literally counting every penny that comes through the door. So it's like, we got it. We understand it. Right. And everybody's working together. Like that's the key thing, that we all need to help each other succeed.
Yeah.
So,
but isn't that the truth of life? Like even when you're a kid, like
yes.
you're not going to succeed on your own. You have to
Yes.
me, you have to surround yourself with amazing people, and then you become amazing too. And, pick your friends wisely. And it's like that lesson as a child of who you're playing with in the sandbox. If Jimmy doesn't share, we need to work on getting little Jimmy to share.
Why gotta be Jimmy?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
And it's like it carries on. And I think as, we grow up, right, we realize that it's actually really, really true. And it can set you apart from other people. And I don't know, it's amazing. Now, I think a lot of CEOs and founders are really struggling right now with what to do. A lot of them actually are struggling with making the choices you've made. Do you have any advice for other business leaders as they kind of navigate the future?
Sure. I mean, always, always, always top priority is speak to your customer. Like they will literally tell you what they want you to do. Right. And besides that, it's like, I remember reading this one book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Right. And it's just like, it's so hard to, accept things, right? Like, I need to give this person bad news. Like, that person needs to hear that bad news. So instead of covering that bad news, I should tell this person the bad news. It's just, being able to just get your team together and to rally around like one specific goal. And, that right there is huge. But then, of course, at the same time, finances can become a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And, you have to make the hard decisions, right? And it's like it all comes back to that main goal that you were looking at before. If we're going to go out of business, if we don't furlough, if we don't trim down, if we don't,
Yep.
get rid of the air conditioning or whatever it happens, if we don't work from home.
Right.
It's like, yeah, we just can't, like, we all understand the goal. And if it's like, hey, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to work here anymore because the company still has the same goal,
Right.
They understand it's not a shock to them because like everybody's in lockstep and completely understands, what it is that the company is meant to do.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it very much. Well, thank you so much. The goal with Evolve is really to join business leaders from Pittsburgh and around the country to allow you to work and grow and learn together. And thank you so much for taking the 98-degree day and spending it with me talking. And I look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to maybe grabbing some Rita sometime.
Sounds awesome. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Thank you.
All right.